right, welcome back to episode 6, I believe, of the Demonic Discussions podcast. I am your co-host with the most, Cameron Pierce, and I am joined today by Emma Weber and Jake Phillips, and I'm actually going to let Emma introduce our special guest that we have on for this episode. Emma, the floor is yours.
Yes. Today, our guest he's somebody I've worked with for a couple of years. He's a very wonderful actor. He's kind of newer to TikTok. You've probably seen him alongside our beloved Mizzy, Mad Mischief, her her partner, her wonderful boyfriend, Jean-Luc. Hello, Jean. How are you?
I am pretty good. Thank you.
Also known as the good doctor that all the ladies and all the guys, I'm not leaving anyone out. We're inclusive here on the Demonic Discussions podcast. Love to simp over. All right. So I'm going to start off a little bit, and then we'll pass it to Emma and then Jake, and then we'll hopefully have Mizzy pop in for a couple questions later on into the episode. Jean-Luc, let's start first off. How exactly did you get into haunting?
Well, I used to go to this thing. Well, I still go to it. I'm sure everybody knows what Comic-Con is. And I've always loved horror movies. And when I heard that there was something called Crypticon, which is Seattle's version of a horror Comic-Con, I had to go. And the only person that would take me is my mom. And so we went one year and we loved it. So we went the next year. And I want to say it was 2018 was when we went and found out about the Nile Nightmares, because they had a little booth there. And I loved it. And I loved everybody there. And I got to meet, I think it was Teresa, who I love. I think Teresa was awesome. And she was very inviting and gave us a little postcard about it and said it was in Mount Lake Terrace, and that was right next to where I lived. So I said, why not? And that summer I decided to do the audition for it, and I guess I was kind of late to it, but I really loved it. So I decided to do it again, and yeah.
All
That's
right.
interesting.
And so tell us a little bit about the character. I'm sure if any of y'all watching at home, if y'all watched the intro, hopefully you did, because I put a lot of time and effort, all about like 20 minutes, into creating each individual intro for all of our special guests. You've probably seen a little bit of this guy's character, and might I say, if you're a Rob Zombie fan, I definitely love his character, because it is such a good resemblance of his own take on a Dr. Satan type character. And I'm a gigantic fan of House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 3. I still haven't seen 3 from Hell. I got to see that soon. But tell us a little bit about the character that you play, and if you have any other characters that you play, tell us a little bit about them.
Currently, for the haunt itself, I don't have any other characters other than Dr. Karn. But when I came up with Dr. Karn, basically what happened was I was building for the 2019 season, and I want to say it was towards probably the middle section of building, like in the middle of the summer. They were talking about the end scare, because they were moving our asylum, because we have 6 buildings, and they needed an end scare, and they needed a character for the end scare. They said that it didn't have to be specific, but it had to be a doctor of some sort. And I asked, can I make a character? Like, can I actually make the character for the end scare, just because I most likely will be the end scare again? And I went ahead and made this doctor who has a very involved backstory with the asylum. And they let me do it. And I don't think they really cared too much about what his name was or what his background was. They just cared about what he looked like and if he was scary or not. And it's actually funny, because the way I developed the character was I didn't really have a basis of what I was going to do for like the voice or anything. I just kind of had an idea of the look. And like you said, it was based off of kind of Rob Zombie's Dr. Satan look. I tried to go for the best I could without prosthetics and stuff like that, because I'm not great at that. But I did kind of just a simple mask with some goggles, a bloody apron, and then the black rubber gloves. And at first I had this voice box, at first I tried using my voice, and I just tried to use like this deep raspy voice, but it wasn't very good because it was very quiet. And then the next night I used a voice box, and that sounded very goofy. because nobody could understand me and nobody could hear me. And then the next started using my laugh and not talking as much, but using the laugh to kind of get people.
Can you give us a taste of that laugh?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It gives me serotonin when I hear it on hot nights.
Yeah.
And you see,
I've had people from the haunt say that they can hear it from like, because if I'm in the asylum, I've had people that are in the clown house or even farther say that they can hear my laugh sometimes.
Oh yeah, I can hear you when I'm walking around. I'm just like, oh, he's probably just outside giggling, having a good.
You see, this is the thing is, I think we can kind of call each other Rob Zombie brothers, because you based your character off of Dr. Satan, and Jake, Emma, this is something that you guys don't know. When I was actually creating the character of Sarge, whenever I kind of took the character over into my own hands after I made the initial creation of him, I actually started forming the character off of a certain character from House of a Thousand Corpses known as the Professor. And I believe, Jean-Luc, you know who the Professor is, I believe.
Are you talking about their father, Earl?
Yep.
Yeah, I love him.
I started basing Sarge a little bit off of that character, Earl Firefly.
Yeah.
And a little bit of that has also kind of transcended into the Heretic and whatnot. I mean, that's the thing. Rob Zombie, he makes movies that you can make a character out of literally any of these characters.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I just
look at
House of a Thousand Corpses is fantastic.
Oh yes. Oh, that's one of his finest works. I swear, we could turn this podcast into a horror movie hour if me and Jean-Luc are in here. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Dr. Karn, I mean, that's the thing is you're a living example of, you don't have to have a very high detailed, intricate costume for it to be so effective. Because I've heard a lot of stories about how people will go into that asylum and just get absolutely just wrecked by you. And like I said, that's the biggest tip I can give people if like you're listening out there and you're wanting to make a new character. Simple works. If you have an idea and it's simple, you don't have to make it detailed. And you're a living example of it, and that's why I love Karn so much. He's simple, but he is extremely effective. And yeah, so I mean, character is very, very awesome. And guys, if y'all want to see more about him, at the end of the podcast, we'll have him plug his social media stuff and all that, so you can go give him a follow. He's an awesome guy. So I'll come back for my big psychology questions that everyone kind of knows me to ask. So I'm actually going to pass the mic over to Emma so she can go on and pick your brain a little bit. So be prepared, Jean-Luc.
Yes, I'm here to pick and pick. And my first pickings is, what draws you to horror? Like, was there a moment, or is there just what about it draws you to it? Because you are like a huge horror dude. Yeah, like I met you when you were dressed as Jason from the third movie, right?
Second movie.
The second movie, where he has the sack on his head. And I remember when we met at Crypticon, you were like, "Hi, I'm thinking of joining your hunt, but you didn't take your mask off." And I was like,
yeah.
No. Okay, I'm not gonna know who you are, but cool. See you around, I guess.
Yeah. So there is kind of a defining moment. It's not like a one moment that got me into horror, but there is one moment that I can definitely remember. And it's the one moment that I definitely remember was like the start of horror was when I was in my house in Linwood, and we were just, me and my brother would wake up occasionally and go downstairs like little kids typically do, 7, 8 years old, whatever. And I came downstairs one day and my stepdad and my mom were watching A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I didn't know what it was. And it was the beginning scene where Freddy's kind of coming down the hallways and she's running. And I was terrified. Sorry. But I was terrified of that scene, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what horror was. And the next day, my stepdad said that apparently that I just straight up asked him, like, "Hey, can I watch that?" And I was like, "Did I really? That's kind of cool." But we went ahead and watched it all as a family. And And then my dad came into it, and when my dad found out that I had watched a horror movie, he was like, "Oh, okay, then he can watch horror movies whenever. Cool." And one of the nights that my brother came over to spend the night with me, we watched Freddy versus Jason. And then since then, it's just kind of been gradually getting worse and worse.
I love it. A family that spooks together stays together, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna jump towards the haunting with your, because you've been here for 2 years, right?
Yes, I've been with the Nile for 2 years. 2 years officially. Technically, it'd be 3, but
Yeah, but we were unfortunately closed because of the Roni. But
yeah.
so what is your wildest or just the best scare you've gotten? Like the most memorable scare you have?
Honestly, it was on Teresa.
Oh my
Um,
god, I forgot about that.
so there, yeah, the one night as Karn, 2019, I want to say it was probably towards the end of the season when she would go through and check up on everybody. And I think she was shutting down the haunt. And I don't know if she was expecting me to do my scare, but do you remember when I used the table?
Yes.
So for context, there's a table, like a medical table that is inside of the room that I'm in. And right when they walk through the door, I slam the table down really hard and it makes this really loud metal noise and a banging noise because it's on concrete. And that almost always got Teresa, but for some reason that night she just actually kind of did like a jump and like a slight shriek, but not a good, like a real, like not like a real shriek because Teresa's pretty hard to actually super scare, but she definitely got freaked out by it, and I was very happy that I did that. So
Yeah, and Teresa's just for the context for Teresa's, if you guys haven't watched previous episodes, which you should. She was our director and stuff, so it was, and she's kind of hard to scare. So throughout the night, it was always a challenge, like who can scare Teresa tonight? Because she would give us a terror Twinkie
I
if
got
we
the Terror
scared
Twinkie
her,
that night.
and you want to, you will fight and kill somebody to get a terror Twinkie. But so my next question kind of goes back to what you're talking about with Karn and how but you do have a backstory for him.
Yeah.
So what is his story? How did he become Dr. Karn that we all know and love and giggle with?
So I kind of wanted to tie it into realism, and I actually did my research on it because I was very enthralled with the idea of asylums and stuff like that. And I know that they were really bad places, and really messed up stuff happened in some of them, and a lot of it was just malpractice and uh, a lot of the people that were inside of them, a lot of overpopulation and stuff like that. Um, so when I thought about the character, I thought, what would his favorite thing be? And I was thinking, the transorbital lobotomy, why not? Typical thing. Um, but why would he still be doing that? And I wanted him to have, roots in today. So like he's, alive today. Why is he still alive and doing this kind of stuff? And I brought it back that he's, a part of this third, fourth generational family that started in an asylum um, before they were, like when they started the transorbital lobotomy and electroshock therapy and things like that. And that basically his family just never stopped. And they thought that it did work. So they continued to do it behind closed doors. And at the asylum they were at, they slowly took over the staff and the guards with me, kind of like a big cult situation. And then at sometime in the 70s or the 80s when they actually shut down the whole system of turning asylums into correctional facilities and centers and stuff, that the Karn family was massacred one day in a police raid, and Karn was the only one to escape, and he came to Ballinger Asylum.
I love that. I don't think I've ever heard his full fleshed out backstory. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's so spooky. Well, that is Nick's turn. Boop, 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 doo.
Awesome. So, in preparation for this interview, I decided to I Instagram stalked you a little bit, and I came up with a few questions that I figured I tried to think of some questions that might make you happy to answer them. So,
Okay.
let's see here. All right. So my first one that I'm going to ask you about is, what's your favorite Friday the 13th movie? Which one's your favorite? Because I noticed you make a lot of
Friday the
Jason
13th.
masks.
Yes. Friday the 13th Part 6 has been my favorite for the longest time.
Okay. Why is that?
I don't really honestly have a super specific reason, but I think a lot of it is just the campiness of it. Kind of they realized how goofy some of the stuff was, and they realized how kind of, it was silly. He's being brought back from the dead. That's unrealistic. And like in the past, it was like they treated it like it was a kind of a realistic or like a scary thing, like this guy that can just take anything and keep going. And I love that about Jason. And then in the sixth movie, it just seemed to kind of have like a turnaround, and they were messing around with it. They were doing, a bunch of goofy stuff. He got shocked by lightning. He, pushes his arm through a guy's chest and rips out his heart. He slices the eye and everything. And I think that another thing is just like the whole aspect of it. Like it just seems so different. It seemed like an action movie almost half the time. And then there was also the fact that it actually has kids in it. It's the first Friday the 13th movie that's at a camp that actually has kids, and not, teenagers who are actually in their 20s or 30s.
Okay. So, okay, that's awesome.
I will say this though. I've got to kind of say something here. We're talking about like goofy horror movie kills and whatnot, like what they were notorious for doing. No horror movie kill will ever top, I believe it was Nightmare on Elm Street 5 when Freddy kills someone with a power glove from Nintendo.
That was Nightmare on Elm Street 6.
That was 6, yeah. I knew it was either 5 or 6. That is by far the goofiest and also one of the best horror movie kills. Change my mind, people.
I'm sorry, have you watched Tire?
Tire.
No.
It's a movie about a tire that kills.
It's called Rubber.
Rubber, sorry.
No, but
it's literally a murderous tire.
You cannot debate this. You cannot debate this with me. Freddy's power glove kill is the best and most comedically goofy horror movie kills. I will fight people in the comments of this episode.
A rubber tire!
I mean, my personal.
Hey, you forgot the power glove. God, okay, I'm gonna shut up now because I can already tell we're starting to get sidetracked a little bit. So
I mean, while we're on sidetrack stuff, really quick, just can I say something random that just happened while we were doing this? Can somebody guess who friend requested me on Facebook?
Me.
Nick Castle. Doug Jones. Is it Doug Jones?
No. You might be able to guess this if I give you the movie. It's based off the movie we were just talking about, Friday the 13th Part 6.
I have no idea.
Mom.
Kane Hodder?
Tom McLaughlin.
What?
Tom McLaughlin.
Literally, like, it just came in while we were talking about it.
Tom McLaughlin sent me a friend request. Yeah.
Wait, did it happen just now while we were talking about it?
Yes. At 7:22 p.m. and just
that's creepy. Haunted.
That's creepy. Right before you guys asked the questions, he sent me a friend request. So that's
well, I will say this. I'm friends with the guy that actually did the original art for the first Mortal Kombat arcade game. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Paul. He is a very cool dude. He's also a haunter as well. I should actually reach out to him to see if we can get him on for a future episode.
That would be fun.
But he was the guy that actually did the original drawing concepts of all the different stages, all the fighters that we come to know and love, like Sub-Zero, Scorpion. So, and he's a haunter, like I said. So we might have to see if we can get old Paulie on the show here. So Emma, did you have any more questions?
I had 2 more.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot it was on you. I'm sorry. My brain is just absolutely just smooth brain mode today. So,
I gotcha.
Big.
So,
all right, Jake, you can continue.
so the other day on your Instagram, I was looking at it, and I noticed that you made a Scarecrow mask off of Scarecrow from Injustice.
Yeah.
That was extremely badass. Is Scarecrow your favorite Batman villain?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I do
I
have
feel
to
like
agree with you.
I gotta
Yeah.
hop on the Scarecrow gang. He is one of the best. Oh, we have a wild Mizzy pop. Okay, so
No,
So,
I have
okay,
to say real quick, hold on. Me and him were going shopping at the mall the other day, and literally everywhere we went, he was looking for Scarecrow merch, but there was none, and he would complain about it for like a minute.
Yeah.
that is heresy because Scarecrow is the best Batman villain. No
Yeah.
one can debate this with me.
He ain't
It's
got
all
enough
about
height.
Joker and Harley Quinn and Killer Croc and Deadshot and whatnot.
Deadshot's one of my favorites as well, but
Deadshot's pretty cool.
oh god, here we go. We're already back on the train
Okay, so
derailment
this is
here.
a haunted podcast. We're talking about Batman. I don't think he's haunted.
Welcome
His parents
to
are
the
dead.
demonic.
Okay, to be
But
fair,
he's
the
not
actor
haunted.
for Scarecrow, in what was it?
Batman
Injustice
Begins.
or something.
Oh yeah, Injustice.
voiced by-
The voice actor for Scarecrow in Injustice is actually Robert Englund. So
What?
well, it
yeah,
all-
No way. I
it
had
all
no
comes
idea.
back.
it's all together.
It's a circle.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Jake, I'm bringing this train back onto the rails. I'm usually the one that sends it off the rails, but this time I'm going to at least try to bring it back onto the rails. My God, how the turntables. Okay, Jake, the floor is yours for your next question.
All right. So, last question. As a gentleman who's obviously a fan of masks, we've discussed Friday the 13th. We've discussed the Scarecrow masks and everything like that. Which fictional character, whether it be horror, whether it be comic book, which fictional character has your favorite mask?
Probably Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is why you and I are friends. And this is why you're my son.
I know the mask is basic and it's something that they put together for $5, was it?
Yeah.
And
I believe it was
and I
something
know-
like, because it was an old William Shatner Star Trek mask that they just
Yeah.
painted white, cut the eye holes out a little bit more.
yeah, and I know how easy it would have been to make that mask and how I know it's iconic and it may be typical for people to say that that's their favorite mask, but it really is my favorite mask. There's something about it that's just I love the hockey mask. I love Jason. I love things like a sack mask or a scarecrow mask, stuff like that. But there's just something about Michael Myers' mask that is just
And
so
I mean that,
Because he's
that's-
daddy. End of
Oh,
discussion.
no. But I mean that's
Censor that? That's suggestive.
no.
Emma,
No,
can you
we're
stop
we're getting-
simping over Michael Myers, please?
Listen, we all have our loves. Don't shame me for who I love.
It's a bit
But, I
hard.
mean, that's the thing though, and I
He
mean
will
again,
be.
this is technically not off the rails because I mean we are technically horror-esque, and oh my God, Emma is just going crazy about what she's seeing on the screen right now.
No, it's because I broke Jake. Anyway.
Oh, but I mean that's the thing is like if you've seen the 2018 reboot of Halloween, basically the continuation of part 1.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, what they did to the shape when it comes to aging the mask, it fits so well on top of the fact that I'm excited to see what they do with Michael in Halloween Kills, which I am so excited because we're getting it in October of this year.
Can
I
I
am
say,
so excited to see it.
when I
We
went to go
are?
see the Halloween movie in theaters, I had a friend of mine paint me up, and painted me up to look like I'm wearing a Michael Myers mask. Like she did latex like on the bottom of my neck, and then the rest of my face was painted, and I went and watched the whole movie like that.
Oh, that is some dedication.
It was the theater was a 21 and over, and I called them in advance and asked them. I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing I did something beforehand with the haunt to advertise and stuff. That's why I was in the makeup." And I was like, "Can I please come see it in the makeup? Like, I promise I'm not going to be sus. I won't even order a drink." I did, but it was wonderful.
And
Nothing's more
so
satisfying.
that is a perfect little challenge that we can do for a good episode of Haunters Jackass. We're gonna have to go as our haunt characters to a movie theater to see how well that turns out.
We should do it for Halloween Kills.
We should. I
That
am
would
so down to
be
do that.
hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Yeah, October of 2021 this year, we are getting Halloween Kills, and
can't
I
wait.
cannot be more excited to see it.
I was so hesitant on if I wanted to be excited for it, but it was so good.
Yeah, because I've seen like leaked set photos of it and all that, and
We're getting
the
off
mask is
track.
like melted in.
We're very off track right now.
Well, technically not, because this is a horror and haunters podcast, so technically.
That's true.
But yeah. So does anyone else, Jake? You got anything else?
I'm all good, man.
Okay. All right. So it's time to go into the psychology side of things here.
Go ahead and ask your first psychology question, and then we'll transition after that.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to your psychology of the scare, how you look into it from every single group, oh my God, our guest is about to be slaughtered on camera. There is an imposter among us, and they're about to come up and kill. We need to press the emergency meeting button.
I have the same exact mask in my car.
But when it comes to your psychology of the scare, when it comes to like how you're going into every single group that comes into the asylum when you're in the haunt, how exactly do you go about your psychology getting ready for each group?
Well, I mean, when I first came into it, I kind of looked at it as like, I thought it was going to be like hitting the refresh button. Like I'm just going to do the same thing over and over again, and I'm going to have time to do the same thing over and over again. But I quickly learned with something called a train, where there's just groups upon groups of people coming through, and there's just nonstop, that you can't really just reset. You have to actually keep going and just like go through with it and just do what you're doing and not break. And I was never used to that, so I had to learn it, and I quickly learned it within my 2 years, and I think that I've definitely got it down. And I think that with my psychology going into it now, I just kind of look at it like everybody coming through that door, I need to scare the shit out of. Sorry. I need to scare.
No, you're fine.
But I think that's just how I look at it now, is that just I need to absolutely, like, I need to like be all over the place. I need to move my body. I need to laugh. If my throat starts hurting, laugh a little bit less, but still be, vocal.
Yeah. And I believe, Jake, you've been at Netherworld a little bit longer than I have, but I experienced it a little bit this year about the infamous Netherworld conga lines every single night.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Where I will tell you this, working the first position of the second show is one of the roughest spots to be in the second show, due to the fact you do not have a cue as to when these people are coming in. You have no clue when they're coming or how many of them are coming. You're behind the wall. You come through with the air gun, blast the first group with the air gun. The best thing you can do is just freeze. If you're a cyborg or something, freeze like a mannequin, because you have no cue or no clue when the next group is about to come through. Because the door that enters into the second show is literally right there in front of you with nothing.
Yeah.
And everyone probably knows how Netherworld is with the infamous conga lines, where it's just a nonstop train through the entire attraction. But yeah, working the lines, I can definitely see that, how you got to really just roll with every single person you see. And a lot of people, when it comes to the psychology of things, they don't really think about that. And it seems like you thought about that very early on. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go full tilt and just go into it as hard as I can. And then they're like, but I'll have a second reset. When it's Hell Week, no, you won't. You're going to have to just roll with it as it is. And like I said, it sounds like you've got it perfectly. Your psychology is a perfect example of how to work those heavy, heavy nights like that. And then when it comes to like your character psychology, whenever it comes to like the psychology you put behind Dr. Karn, what part of that psychology do you use to add those levels to that character that every character needs?
So I think the psychology I use for him is similar to how I would do it if I'm just kind of looking for people. When I am looking to scare people, I mean, I'm sure every haunter does this, but I kind of look into their eyes the most. It's hard for me to see with those goggles on, but I try and look at the people who are visibly actually just frightened. If nobody's frightened, I just keep going, and I don't really pick a target. I just kind of go. But if there is one person that is just starting to crumble and is starting to show their fear, and usually in the room that I'm in, they have to kind of come across me. I will kind of jump out towards them and then follow, like just with my body language, I will follow them. And I think with the psychology of it, it's kind of like picking somebody out of a group and just picking on them.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of what Karn would do, is he would just kind of pick the one person who's showing the most fear. And I think that might tie into the fact that I love Scarecrow so much, because the whole fear factor of it is I'm picking the person who has the most fear and I'm going at that person most.
Okay. There are a couple characters I play that they like to fish around the bucket, basically. They like to find that perfect little one and just yank them out. And typically that's how you become really, really high up in the acting levels. To learn how to read that body language of these people. Because that's the biggest thing, and you know that, just like all of us know that. Body language, when it comes to how you show your character's body language, as well as how those customers that are coming through are showing theirs, that is the big deciding factor as to if you're going to go full tilt on that person or hit them with a quick scare and get ready for the next person. And especially when you're working in show, because I actually have noticed a little bit. All of our you're actually the first guest that we have that is not a Q line / midway actor.
Yeah.
You're the first person we've had that is an actual in-show actor.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the big difference, is that working in show is a lot different than working the Q line or the midway. Because, on the midway Q line stuff, you're constantly looking and searching. Your head's on a swivel 24/7 trying to see what's going on, who's the one that's, as Pongo Joe said it in his episode here, you're looking for that person that's spotting you a mile away and trying to stay away from you.
Yeah.
When those people come into the show, they are already on edge enough. They're already put into this scary environment that you can find the people that just want to get out. And typically that's where you can come in, you can body block stuff to really just have a fun time, all while making their life a living nightmare for those 15, 20 minutes that they're in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your psychology is, like I said, we got the psychology of a lot of the midway Q line actors, and like I said, since you're the first in-show actor, your psychology for the in-show stuff is very, very, it's the right stuff, I will tell you that. And I know everyone has their own types of psychology that they use for it, but to me, it seems like that is the one big factor of it, is the in-show actors have their own certain way. It's kind of cut and dry down the middle.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like I'm just rambling on here, but yeah, I mean, that's all I really have right now. If we can bring in Little Miss Mizzy, aka Dr. Karn's biggest simp.
Hello. So, I guess I just start with my questions. My first one would probably be movie pitch. Karn gets his own movie series. Which actor, besides your wonderful, talented self, would you trust to capture your creation?
Honestly, I think it's kind of funny, but I would probably want Christian Bale. I don't know what it is, but I think just
American Psycho.
Yeah, his look in American Psycho with the slicked back hair. if he was dressed up as Dr. Karn, I think I would enjoy the heck out of that.
I would too. I think that's pretty good. Okay. So what kind of roles do you aspire to portray in The Haunt one day? Like, could you ever envision yourself as like the complete opposite of what Karn is, like a victim of his? Or are there any other characters of yours that you'd like to bring to life at The Haunt that you can share with us?
As for roles, I think it would be interesting to play the victim, but I think I would like to be a slider at some point, and I'm definitely working towards that. And in being a slider, being a Q actor, of course. And as for characters, I actually have a character that I created for a game that I made called Horror Icons with my friend Riley. That was just a simple card game that we used Post-it notes for, that was super simple, super dumb. We put down a bunch of horror characters: Jason, Freddy, Michael, Pinhead, Chucky, Ghostface. I can name 600 others that we have in the game. And at some point we were like, okay, if we want this to be a real game, we can't just put horror characters in this. We need to actually come up with characters. And I came up with a character named Craven. It has no ties to Wes Craven, by the way. I thought of the name Craven, and I was like, yeah, I like that. And his story goes along the lines of that he was born in the 15th century and orphaned and left at the steps of a church. And he was raised by the pastor, the priest that was there. And I still need to flesh out some of the story details, but basically he grows up, and at some point his kingdom is kind of taken over by another kingdom, and there's an ambush, and in the ambush he escapes, but he's captured by the opposing kingdom at some point, and they torture him and put him through hell, basically. And every time he is about to die, he prays. And of course, he's praying to God because that's what he grew up with. And when God won't help him, he decides, maybe I'll go to somebody else. And when he decides to go to somebody else, this person that he sees in his visions and his dreams, that person does end up helping him, and it turns him into this creature. And I kind of haven't come up with what the creature would look like, but so far it's just kind of like a vampire or something similar. But basically he turns him into this creature, and in turning him into this creature, he's able to escape. And I think that would be very fun to bring to The Haunt.
That'd be a really cool Q actor.
That would be really fun to have in the queue, I was gonna say.
I was also thinking, like, at the end of the meat scene, I forgot what the
Slaughterhouse.
The slaughterhouse.
The meat scene.
The meat. I
That
don't know
scene
why.
with all
Like,
that,
I literally
you know,
love Slaughterhouse. I don't know why I forgot the name.
that
But
meat.
there's just so much meat. I would like that though. Don't look at that. Okay, so I have this. So like, I'm free February 14th. If you're free February 14th, maybe we can like get coffee on February 14th.
I think I'm booked.
Date on February 14th. You're booked?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well, real question. Are there any facts that you'd like to share about Karn that isn't very well known with the public?
I mean, other than the story I gave for him, there's not too many random facts that I have that I can really say that are not, that I didn't kind of give out. But I guess one of the things for his backstory that I could include that I haven't really officially included that I think would be fun is that there's a possibility that he is insane. And that's why he laughs.
I mean, I hope that if you laugh while attacking people, that you'd be insane and
Well,
not
no,
just
Karn's a perfectly sane person. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, he has a degree. He's a doctor, honey. A doctor.
Damn right, Emma. Yes, thank you.
Okay, but Doctor Who doesn't have an actual, I mean, he might, but like he doesn't have an actual degree.
If he
He's
doesn't,
just
he
a
should.
doctor, and that doesn't like make him a doctor.
He was born into it. How about that? It was like a generational thing.
That's
His father-
not how that works.
You not
His father was a doctor. His grandpa
If
was
I'm
a
gonna
doctor.
have someone cut me open, I'd
Listen,
like to know that
on
they have
his-
a degree.
On his little
Like a
flippy
ring.
floppy paper, it always says, "I'm a certified doctor. Trust me." That's always what it says.
I think I need
You
a card for Karn that
No, when
like
people
just an
ask me-
official, Yeah, I'm a
Okay,
doctor.
here's what'll happen, okay? Candy Floss is going to help him forge one, and it's going to be covered in glitter and highlighter, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be framed, and we're going to put it in the asylum scene, so when people are like, where's your degree? You point at it, and it lights up in black light, and I think it would look
Please.
bomb. It would look amazing.
Glitter bomb.
That would be the perfect thing in that room in the asylum.
That's all I've got for now. So you're really booked on February 14th?
Yeah, with Candy Floss.
That's you gave me 2 passes. Don't censor them.
Do it.
Okay.
We're not gonna censor it. Say it.
Cool. Anyways, fuck that. All right, let's go.
That's 1.
No, that's 2. I said.
Oh, that's right.
I said
yeah,
4, and I said fuck that.
Oh, no, you
Don't
did it
give
3
her
times.
any ideas. Jesus.
Can't help.
I can already just hear Jake
Jake's
just.
nice.
I can hear Jake just calling his psychiatrist now.
Dr. Karn's here.
I need
think it's
Dr.
gonna take something
Gregory.
a lot stronger than Dr. Karn to put him out of his misery. I got you, Jake.
I need Dr. Gregory.
Oh, little spoiler for a future episode.
Are you
Mhm.
calling him right now?
Ooh.
I'm calling
Who are we
Dr.
gonna call?
Gregory. Ghostbusters.
Oh God. Oh, this has turned out to be one of the funnest episodes we've recorded so far.
Damn.
Would be.
But wasn't that so sweet?
Literally. Everyone's like, what are they talking about? Meanwhile, my boyfriend's just.
Don't you be
kissing me.
smooching. That's gross.
PDA.
Now
PDA.
some-
This is professional
Ow!
environment.
I only say that
Spit
because
it!
I'm not at my boyfriend's house tonight, so I'm angry.
You know,
She
some
is
of us are
angry.
single in here.
I'm
Hiya.
sorry.
Hi.
You don't want this.
No, this is a nightmare.
It
Trust me.
is.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but 2 cats are trying to murder each other.
Actually, we can't. I'm
I hear it every
surprised.
night.
I live
We
with
take it in so many ways.
my roommates have a Savannah cat, and then they recently got a new cat, and she's this little tiny little tuxedo girl, and she does not like the boy cats, and all the Savannah cat wants to do is play, but she thinks because he's like 3 times her size, you know, he's going to kill me, so then she screams. And then we'll starfish attack him while screaming. It's a treat, especially at night, 4 in the morning.
All right. Well,
We're off
I'm
topic.
gonna, it's all good. So I'm actually going to have a little bit of a discussion here with everyone, and audience, if y'all would like, y'all can chime in with this down in the comments. So just some opinions on some stuff throughout the haunt industry itself. When it comes to what's oversaturated, you know, what's more of that fresher idea, especially in this post-COVID world that we're living in right now, where things are having to change to be able to run safely. I just want to get everyone's opinions, and if, like I said, if anyone at home, if y'all have any opinions on this, be sure to chime in down in the comments, and we would love to have a good discussion through the comments with y'all. So I'll go on and name the first topic. So, and this is something that I have a
feel like
personal
I already know what you're talking
struggle with, because I worked at a haunt before that was extremely saturated with them, but I just want to get the opinions of y'all as well. So clowns.
Ouch.
Not you personally.
Well, so I actually thought you were gonna go with sliders, but
Oh, yeah.
So we'll go around the Knights of the Round Table here. And I want to get y'all's opinions on this different stuff with inside the haunt industry itself, because collectively we've all been in this for a pretty long time. I've been in it for 5 years. Jake's been in it for 6 now. Emma, you've been in here for what, 10?
2021 will be my 11th year if we can count that during lockdown and COVID and not being able to haunt. I was haunting in my heart for my 10th year.
Yeah, you were having to live vicariously
By
through me
crying.
as I
just
was
cried the whole
acting in
time.
that world.
Will.
Hazel, you've been in the business for 5 years, I want to say?
6 years.
6?
Yeah.
5 or 6? Okay.
Yeah.
And Jean-Luc, you already said you've been in it for 2, going on 3 now.
Yeah.
So we all have a pretty good retrospective of what's going on in the haunt business. So like I said, I'm going to start off with clowns, and we're going to kind of go through the list as it is. Just y'all feel free to chime in. Let me know what you think about how these different topics are within inside the business itself.
Yeah.
I've voiced my opinions very loud. Obviously, you know my opinions on this because I'm a member of Haunt Hub. So, but yeah. So if any of y'all would like to go on and start first, I'd love to catch y'all's opinions on this. Emma.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with you, even though I do have a clown character. I just made her like within the last 2 years and stuff because I felt the same things that you feel of just like they're kind of overplayed, but they're also kind of an easy scare because it's such a common phobia for people that it's like for such a good amount of people, just looking at a clown, that's all they need to do. But because of that, I do feel like you get a lot of lazy actors who just do the clowns because it's easy and you don't explore into like, like do research on like, I don't know, clown culture, I'll call it. Because that's kind of what I tried to do with Beat Beat and try to like, form her. She's still in development because I've only had her out for one season, but I'm trying. It's a weird. It's like a gray area for me, honestly, because it's like I love clowns, and then I also understand why like they're kind of a tired trope at this point because you get the lazy actors, and it's just kind of like it can become repetitive when you go through a house full of clowns that just don't care.
Yeah, and I mean
And
that's
then
the
you
thing
get like
is
I'm sorry.
no.
Then you do get like those occasional really good ones like, Pongo and Alloy. You get all these really good ones. You're like, this is what it should be, but because it's such an easy scare, people I feel like a lot of the times aren't willing to put in the effort because it's like I'm already getting the scare. Why should I go further?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. There's a difference between being a clown actor and being a clown boo. And for those of you at home that do not know what the term boo means, and I'm not saying that, no, Jakey, you can back off.
Take a drink from the
Um,
booze.
yes, but what the term boo stands for is basically those actors that if you work at a haunter, if you've been in the business, you know those actors, the ones, they they typically like to go for they try to make these full-blown high caliber quality characters out of some cheap party city masks with a bunch of fake blood all over them and all of this. And there's a difference between being a clown actor and a clown boo. If you're a clown actor, like I said, you have Alloy, Pongo. Those characters are absolutely amazing because of how they're executed. And that's the thing is, a lot of these people, I feel like it's a lot of ICP juggalos. I honest to God feel that way about some of the clown boos out there. And God, I can already hear so many people just like heavy breathing, just typing up hate messages down in the comments because of that. But but there's a difference, and you got to learn the difference, and you got to be the other side that actually puts the time and effort into it. And that's not even just with clown characters to me. That's with characters on all sides of everything. And I mean, if you're willing to put the effort into it and own the character to make it yours, then it turns out to be a masterpiece. But if you just like, just slap job it together, my God, that needs to go in Urban Dictionary for that term. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you just kind of just rush it and you have no care in the world about it, then you're going to be a boo. But that's my 2 cents on the whole clown stuff. And I believe we have Ms. Eve raising her hand. You can go on.
Okay, so I do agree with you that a lot of people that walk into trying to become a clown really just kind of throw it together. I feel like there's like a lot of people, and it is like with our haunt, we actually do put a lot of our younger actors into the clown roles because they're new to this, so they get to really explore what it's like to just kind of unhinge yourself and take on this persona, because when you're playing a clown, you're typically playing a goofy, you're letting your interior out, I guess. Kind of when I made Candy Floss, it was because I'm like, clown would be easy. I love clowns. I love the aesthetic of clowns. Like, I love the energy that I can bring out. I hadn't explored it beforehand, but I realized that the more that I played her, the more she's just an unhinged version of like my core. She's my core character. And so I think that you're so distracting. I have ADHD. Stop. So, so I think that with a lot of clowns, a lot of people are just drawn to it because they know that they can unhinge themselves and they can just let loose. They can just go for it. But a lot of people also might not know how to unlock that. It takes time. It does take effort. It takes a lot of like training, and
And
sometimes
self-learning,
you might end up
like.
jumping towards the more cliche stuff, because when I think most people kind of unlock that part of themselves, they're going to go towards the first thing, like, what's the first thing that's scary? Come play with me. And but because that's been so oversaturated in the like haunt media and stuff, it's now considered a boo. So you need to become even more creative. And so I think, with our haunt, how we put newbies into this position, it's looked down upon because they are new, and so I think that's just kind of what I'm observing when it comes to like clowns and stuff. There's definitely like the clown boos, I guess we could say. But with the people that like, with the development that I gave with Candy, she's now like much more in depth. I mean, my first version of Candy Floss compared to now, you'd think that my first version of Candy Floss was a clown boo.
It is insane because I have scrolled back because I was like, oh, I just want to see like the evolution of Candy because I love that because she has grown and developed so much into like this whole persona. And I go back to the first one and it's like you see all the little things that you found that was like this works and this work.
Mm-hmm.
Let me develop on those. And
Yeah.
I will say it was a treat. It's been a treat to watch.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
Yeah.
If
So
I could
I think
lame for a moment.
That's definitely I think that's my opinion. I think that they are oversaturated, but for the reasoning of they're probably the easiest kind of monster to portray. And so a lot of people are immediately drawn to that, especially with media these days, like Harley Quinn and Joker. That's definitely a big influence on like people playing clowns and haunts, and overall just the frenzy and the appreciation for clowns in like general media.
Yeah, and it's like usually one of the only scenes where you have a chance to be a little more silly than serious because I do like once a week at the haunt during our seasons on Sundays because we have underage actors who have to go to school, so their parents are like, I'm sorry, you can't act tonight, you have school. So, I'll go in and I'll fill a role in-house. And I've lost my point because I suck.
No, I think I know where you're going with that. You can be more funny when you're playing a clown. If you end up like messing up or you don't scare somebody, then you can just be like, well, that didn't go as planned, like verbally, and they'll laugh at it. They'll be like, that's funny. Yeah, like you can be funny. Because when you're in Slaughterhouse, if you're being this gruff like guy with a chainsaw, you have to be serious. You can't joke around, or you can joke if you find a way to joke around, like kudos to you, but
like the guy with our chainsaw.
Yes, but regardless, I think a lot of roles you're expected to be, or you think that you'll be more efficient when you're more serious and you don't joke around as much. You don't show that childish side. So I think that's probably why clowns are hella.
Yeah, and
that's
again,
what I was trying to say. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to remember my
you're okay.
It's just like it's easier to play off when you fail in your scare if you're a clown, because then you can just be like, whoop-a-doo-ba-doo, I'm so silly.
You get that reset,
But-
basically.
Yeah, you get that reset.
It's an easier
even-
reset than when you're like in Infernum, which is our scene that's like you're in hell basically, but they don't want us to say you're in hell.
So like if I ever
And so,
see
like, yeah.
sorry.
No, continue.
I guess I'm never really judgmental on like the clowns oversaturation just because I've been there. I get it. I
Mhm.
know, and it makes the most sense. And honestly, if you're getting into haunt acting or whatever, and you really want to explore like your limits and stuff, because there's clowns also. It's like such an umbrella because there's so many different types of clowns you can be. Like you can be a creepy, serious monochrome one. You can be a colorful pink one that's just so out there, like Candy Floss, you know. And so I think it's a really good for, especially for baby haunters, to be a clown and to, you know, check that out and see what happens, because I think it's a good stepping stone.
Yeah,
would
and I
say.
mean, it goes
So-
back again to you got to have the layers of the different psychologies that you're willing to add into the character. If you're
Yeah.
gonna stay, you know, the cookie cutter with just you know, weird laugh, and that's basically your one trick pony to it. That's when you turn into more of the
You just
not
offended
you,
your guest.
not you. You're fine. You're handsome and you're fine, okay?
I know, right? Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is as long as you're willing to add those layers to it and you're willing to go into detail with it, you're gonna turn out fine. So, and Jake, do you have any opinions on that?
Not really. I mean, I was made to play a clown my first year working at Netherworld, and I do agree with the whole oversaturation thing, and basically everything that y'all said, I pretty much agree with, because I do understand that it's a good starter character and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But if you keep doing it year after year and doing the same thing over and over with no evolution to your acting, that's when you need to step back and be like, So
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
that's
this is me calling out some areas of the haunt industry when I do a segment like this, but this is something that people need to hear.
I think, yeah, it's important to address things every once in a while, you know?
Yeah. So, and that actually leads me into my next topic, and I can almost guarantee if Angel is following us on here, he's probably, the moment he hears me say this, he is going to try to hunt me down for it. Sliders is the next topic.
No, I knew you were kind of getting into that. And
But
We all know
this is particularly the actors that will only slide as their only thing they do. They don't know how to act around the customers when they're in the midway or in queue line. All they do is just slide. They don't interact with anything. Those types of sliders.
No, I don't think Angel will be mad at you. He definitely does act,
No.
and he is fantastic.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely.
No,
yes.
he's not going to come out for you. I'm pretty sure he's on the same page because he is one of the OGs. Like he's from Queensmary. He's been doing it for forever. Also, listen to that episode. It was my first episode.
Yeah,
and
go
it's a
check out
great
episode
one.
2 of the Demonic Discussions podcast.
Great
There's a
team.
shameless
Get to know
plug there.
us. But,
So I think I'll go first on this, and then we'll go back around the table. So I can actually bring this into a little bit of experience because of the different requirements we have at Netherworld to become a slider at Netherworld. There is a minimum year requirement that you have to join the Netherworld Sliding Corps. You have to pass a full physical training test that is very, very rigorous, as well as there's a reason that Island, who I'm going to try to see if we could eventually try to get Island on here because he is a treat to talk to about this stuff. He's also one of the show writers for the first show at Netherworld, so that'd be interesting to pick his brain on an episode as well. But he told me the reason that he set the minimum requirement years to be a slider at Netherworld is so he knows how you are as an actor before they put you out into the midway. Because, I mean, you know, Jake, Emma, Hazel, y'all know, because y'all are queue line actors, midway actors, it's a whole different ball game when you're out there and you don't have these big, nice, scary sets out there where you're having to roll with the punches every single customer that comes through. It's a whole different experience. And if you're not prepared for it, you're going to get thrown to the wolves. And that's the thing is, to me, I feel like if you're not fully prepared to be able to act and improv and kind of not really so much as scare, but entertain people, if you can't scare them, and that goes back to what y'all were talking about.
Yeah.
If you can't scare them, entertain them.
For sure.
And if you're not able to do that, then it's going to be a rough time, because sliding is an absolutely amazing tool that you can have in your tool belt. It is one of the best scare tactics I can think of, because it's such a fast moving thing and it's so rapid, but it gets the response that you're wanting, but it can only take you so far.
Yeah. And it's
Because
sort of
the
like
thing
it's
is-
sort of like a crutch, and if you rely only on that, you're not going to get
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, and the thing, that's my thing, is that if I'm a customer and I come to your haunt, if you come sliding right at me and you pop up right in my face, I'm going to be standing there looking at you just like, okay, what are you going to do next? So when you come out of those slides and whatnot, you're kind of stuck there if you don't really know how to interact with your audience. And that's the thing. If you're relying on, and that's not even just sliding, that's all these other scare tactics that we could go into for days. If you're going to rely on just that alone and not being willing to evolve, it's going to be pretty rough. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Sliding, like I said, is an amazing, amazing scare tool that you can have, but you can't rely on it because it can only get you so far. Because like I said, when you pop up in a customer's face, a lot of the times they're going to be looking at you and just go, okay, what do you got to do next? But that's just my 2 cents. Just if you're going to be a slider, have some way that you can interact or work the crowd after you get done with that slide. Don't rely on just the one tool for it.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Because we have been seeing on like the Haunter meme pages, sliders are kind of becoming the butts of some jokes right now, because it is starting to get more popular, and I'm fully aware I'm still a new slider too, so I am a part of the problem. I fully get that.
I don't think that there's a
But-
problem per se.
Not a quote unquote problem. But it's just, I feel like a big problem that is there is that they're solely relying just on the big scary sound that you're making. And because when you do get someone who isn't expecting it, it is always a good scare, just the slide alone. But then I feel like they sometimes may ride that high a little too hard.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard to word this so people don't hate me. But I feel like I agree with you, because some of the times there isn't that interaction afterwards where you just slide and then you get the good scare and then you just walk away, when it's like you could get more out of them if you did more. Like, you don't have to just slide. You can go up and talk to them, smell them, like ask to lick them. I don't know. But I do feel like there is more that could be done in those situations. Yeah.
If you don't walk up to the customers and go full Bugs Bunny from Meat Canyon on them, you're not doing it right.
And I feel like there's obviously gonna be moments where you're gonna rely on the sound, and like what you said earlier, but there's definitely got to be some character to it. But I feel like that's not our. I don't think that that's like our problem. Like, I think that if that's more of like the haunt problem. The individual haunt with these actors, if they're not training their sliders to bring some character and genuine acting to their sliding, then that's on them. That's them becoming the source of this problem, quote unquote. And that's kind of like, trying to find my words here. I think that's where a lot of this is coming from. And a lot of people are blaming sliders overall, or at least that's kind of how it sounds like. But it's definitely just a haunt issue, because if you're not training your sliders, then that's on you.
Yeah, and I mean that's the big thing here is perfect examples here. Once again, Angel. I mean, the dude scares people not just with sight. He scares them with a
He scares
freaking
me,
trash
and
can.
I'm his scene partner. He scares me.
I mean, literally, the dude scares people with a freaking trash can. And I mean, Emma,
And it's
you've said
the
you've tried to
funniest
replicate
thing.
it so many times, and you can't do it like he can.
I don't have the sparkle of zest he has. I
Lemon
don't have
zest.
it. I don't know what zest it is. I think it's grapefruit zest because I've tried lemon and I've tried lime. I think it's grapefruit zest.
If he's not
But-
using the grapefruit technique, then he's not doing it right.
Angel just has that, like, because he's been doing it for so long, he has that magical veteran magic that he just, like, he knows what to do, and I can't figure it out.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, perfect. Like I said, Angel is a perfect example. Island is one of the perfect examples. Pongo Joe is a beautiful example.
I made a
Because-
meme recently.
Yeah, and because I mean that's the thing is acting in character, working the crowds, entertaining people at times, and he's an overall just a beautiful, beautiful actor and an amazing human being. Go check out his episode as well. I believe it's episode 3 of the podcast. Go check it out. Another shameless plug. I am so sorry, everyone. If y'all hate me for that, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean those are very valid points that everyone's kind of throwing in there, and I don't know where it is. Jake, any kind of thoughts from you?
None
Jake has
really.
been consumed by Pennywise poster.
None really from me on this topic. I don't feel that it's my place to discuss on this topic. So I'm not gonna say anything just because I don't know too much about it, and even if I did, I'm not a slider personally. I think mostly I just agree with Hazel though about how sliders are fine if they're also trained to act and not just do stunt stuff.
Yeah. There's also the whole, like, who knows? I mean, I want to get into sliding, but who knows what it's like? Like, maybe it's just that exhausting, and so, the best thing they can do is rely, at least for like newer sliders. But I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a good point.
and I mean,
It is tiring.
I'm about to say one topic that I know everyone will agree with: squeeze bags / claustrophobia tunnels.
I've never been in one.
I've been in 2.
What?
Horrifying.
Do we have some at the haunt?
No, we don't.
I've been through in my own, like, when I've gone through haunted houses in the past, I've been through them.
If
They're
we
fun.
had them, I would accidentally take a knife, open bladed through, and they would just, I don't know how that happened, sir.
Emma's just standing there with a big giant knife in her hand, just like, whoops! Oh no! I dropped my phone. Oh, what's this knife doing here? I need this knife to find my phone. Can you help me?
What is this
Man.
knife you're speaking of, sir?
Oh, you gotta censor that.
Whoa! Put that down.
Yeah, no. Even pre-COVID, I've always hated them. Like, the first time I've worked at, we had one, and I worked in it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can walk through it. Follow customers through." And I was like, "No, because they're walking in face first. Which,
Yeah.
if I have to go through them, I'm like I back through it with my arms to my chest, so I don't touch anything. Because people walk through, and it's like, you have snot on your face. Your mouth is probably open because you're panicking, so your spit's getting everywhere.
You're yelling, probably.
Emma,
Yeah,
are you talking about the squeeze tunnels at Fear?
Yeah, I didn't want to drop.
There's 3 of them now.
They're gross.
That's
they
like-
That's
they have a-
overkill.
That's
They
like
have-
having 3 clown houses.
Don't get me started. That's a topic for when we close the episode. I'll
Listen,
tell you later.
let's not do slander stuff. I don't want legal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they have a full from the waist up claustrophobia tunnel. They have one that goes from the waist down, and then they have one that kind of pushes you to crouch down or crawl on the ground. But
I've never been in
Yeah.
any of those. We have something sort of like that at our haunt, but not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's.
I mean,
Sounds as intense.
are you thinking of
Yeah.
the Infernum?
No, I'm thinking about the Nile. It kind of closes a little bit, but not really.
Yeah,
the
it's
tunnel.
That's like
we
a
try and
Yeah.
the Nile the haunt as itself tries to keep itself wheelchair accessible,
Mhm.
so we can't really do one of those. But of the two that I've been through, I wasn't really thinking of that. But in a situation like this with COVID, or if there is something going around like the flu, it is definitely a sanitization hazard, because that is nasty. I honestly haven't thought about that, but that is definitely really gross.
If there was one in
we
Netherworld, our
had this
cleanup crew would
discussion.
have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, luckily Netherworld doesn't have them. But we had this topic when we had Courtney on the last episode. Is that I believe it was either Mizzy or Emma that asked the question about it, and what do we want to see change after COVID is passed and everyone's all vaccinated up? And everyone unanimously agreed claustrophobia bags need to go no matter what.
And the scenes
Because-
where you're force fed and they don't decontaminate between, because I've been through one where I was force fed immediately after their fingers were in some stranger's mouth in front of me, and I wanted to yeet myself. I still do. Think of it.
Yeah, so I mean,
Nasty as Jello too.
I didn't like claustrophobia tunnels again, like most of y'all, even before COVID and after COVID. It's just like, please get haunt owners, if you're listening to this episode, please, for the love of God, get rid of them, please.
They're not scary. They're just kind of like,
No, they're
oh
not
wow,
scary.
what the hell?
They're not scary.
And I feel like at
Honestly,
this
they
point,
have no effect on me. It's more along the lines of I'm a borderline germaphobe.
Yep.
So
I
it's
feel
like
too, claustrophobia can come from like genuine trauma too. Like,
Yeah.
like a phobia against clowns. I think the first thing that I can think of, and I'm not trying to like assume why someone is afraid of clowns, but like a bad birthday party.
all right.
Recording.
So that is the end of our topics section of this episode. If you got any more topics that you want us to discuss, be sure to drop us a suggestion down in the comments, and we will be sure to check it out and see if it's worthy enough to discuss on here. So
If you've
that's
stayed this
gonna just
long.
about. Yeah, if you stayed this long, thank you guys so much, by the way. If you like what you hear so far, be sure to drop us a subscribe on the channel if you're not subscribed already. We're already up to 22 subscribers, and we are still growing. Some special announcements coming very, very soon, so just stay tuned for that. Special thanks to our special guest, Jean-Luc O'Connell, for being willing to come on here and chit-chat with us a little bit. If you got any social medias or anything, you're more than free to go on and plug those for you.
On TikTok, my name is
Your
That's
name
not
is
my name. That's not my name. My name is not. My name is Craven's Curse with a underscore between Cravens and Curse. And then on my Instagram, it is also Craven's Curse with no underscore.
Do you want to
And-
spell that out? Because some people might mistake that for like cravings.
Oh no. So like Wes Craven, like CRAVENS, and then Curse. So, and those are pretty much the only two kind of social medias that I use with an account with my characters and masks and stuff like that, and that I do stuff on. So
Well, that just fantastic.
I think that's just fantastic.
That's just fan
All right.
freaking tastic.
And we're gonna start plugging this every episode for our co-hosts to be able to throw our social medias out there if you'd like to go check us out. I'll go on and start off first. You can find me on Instagram and actually just Instagram under this name at least. You can find me on Instagram at killing_machine_Sarge. On TikTok, you can find me at the Cult of Sarge on TikTok. And that's really the only social medias I have character-wise. So that's where you can find me. Any of my other co-hosts, y'all can go on and jump in and plug your stuff.
Hi, I'm Mad Mischief, like Mad Mischief. MISC
Yes.
H.
HIEF. I missed you. And then in my Instagram, that's mostly on my Instagram and TikTok, but in my Instagram bio, I have a beacons link that'll lead you to all my other platforms and all the other things that I do. So,
Side note, go buy her merch.
I'm very proud of my merch. Please buy it, because honestly, I just want to see my face on y'all's shirts, man.
And you can find me on Instagram under Undead Irma, ERMA, and on TikTok under Seattle Zombabe, ZOMBABE.
And you can find me on Instagram. I have a long name, so bear with me. It is the
That's a really long name.
It's the underscore monster underscore in the underscore closet.
All right. And also, we do have the podcast official Instagram. It is just Demonic Discussions on Instagram. You can go check us out over there.
It's demonic underscore discussions.
Demonic underscore discussions. That's right. So yeah, you can go over there and check it out over there. And I believe we're already up to almost 50 followers on there so far, Jake?
38 or 39, somewhere around there.
We're getting close. We're getting close. So be sure to go check us out over there. We will be sure to have Jean-Luc's social medias, his different God, I say a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say take a shot every time you say
Yeah. Okay, now you're drunk. But
social medias.
You can. We will have his social medias down in the description of this episode, so you can go check him out over there. Just real quick, I'm going to go on and announce our special guest for the next episode. That's going to be Alex Wade, otherwise known as the Haunted Youth, on TikTok and Instagram. We're going to be getting in touch with her very soon, and we will be getting her on the podcast. So yeah, be sure to like this episode and go subscribe, turn the notifications bell on. You'll be notified when we upload on the channel. I have some really cool projects coming, particularly whenever we go to the Valentine's Day haunt that we're going to be working. So for the Demonic Discussions podcast, this is Cameron Pierce, Emma Weber, Jake Phillips, Mad Mischief, otherwise known as Mizzy / Hazel. And we also have Jean-Luc O'Connell, and we will see you guys in the next one.